hopefully we're going to see some nice items come up fairly early as well. That would be pretty useful.
Yeah. I feel like I've done this before.
Yeah, we might just have done this before. Who knows, right?
You know? So it does seem that the race is underway. And interestingly enough, finding the Master Sword in the very first chest.
Yeah, I sort of... Oh, that's an instant pickup of the menu there. 3 crystals. I didn't see exactly which ones they were, but I think it was like 1... I want to say 1, 2, 4, but I didn't see the exact numbers.
It's like 5 in Eastern, 1 in Hera, and I didn't get a look at Desert, honestly.
5 in Eastern's pretty interesting. That does mean that, you know, if Crystal 6 is relatively available, aka not in Total Arc. Also, a fun little glitch for that there, if you saw the colour of the sword wasn't the same as it normally was, because you had an upgraded sword already. It's most pronounced if you have not the Master Sword. Hey, bombs to start with too, that's pretty useful.
Not bad, no, perfect.
I like the play from Ben there, just in case you get something like the Fire Rod or Bomb Burst or something down below. You can use that to kill the ball and chain guard. There's still a chest that they can get an item out of. Well, 2 chests they can get that out of. So I've started doing that myself recently, and it's been pretty...
Yeah, you know, it was interesting to counter that. The one time that I didn't grab those magic pots, I actually found the Fire Rod, and then didn't have any magic to use it against the ball and chain.
I've actually had that before, where I've had it with the hammer and the magic powder, where I didn't pick up any magic along the way, and I got those 2 before I got into Kakariko, and I couldn't do magic back because I didn't get any magic drops.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's because of that. It's something I picked up from now on. Otherwise, kind of interesting to just see that AmazingAmpharos actually hasn't taken the hit yet. I think we saw... There was one race I commentated, Andy versus Fuzda, I believe, where Andy didn't take a hit during the escape at all and actually got a worse pull tree reward because of it. So, it was... I think Fuzda got like 8 bombs off of the tree and got pretty much nothing. So it's kind of interesting if AmazingAmpharos doesn't take any hits there and they do decide to do the pull tree stuff. It'll be interesting to see what they get.
Yeah, absolutely, because it does vary. So one thing to note on quickly too, Ampharos went 4-0 in the group stages, Ben a 3-1. Fantastic coming out of their groups. Sure to be really close races, both of these runners are excellent.
Oh well, never mind any pull tree stuff. AmazingAmpharos having a little bit of trouble with the guard there. Zelda is holding the map to her dungeon. I like the pull of magic there too, just in case.
Just so Zelda can find her way out after she gets released, she knows where to go.
Yeah. How else is she gonna know about that secret passageway behind the throne, right? What's up?
She must have studied it somehow. I mean, it's not like she must live in the castle or anything.
The map to her heart. That one I'm not quite so sure on, but maybe.
I mean, saving her is not quite enough these days. You gotta pull out all the stops and the full heroics at this point.
Yeah, I suppose it could be some sort of other... It doesn't have to be a map. Just because it looks like one doesn't mean it has to be. It could be anything on that paper.
It could be the burrito to her heart, who knows?
Food is usually a good way to win someone over.
I'm a little hungry myself, so yeah, that works for me.
You need at least a full 4-figure rupee cards and cards out there. So this is already a really good opening time here, coming from both of these players. The escape times can vary a decent bit depending on how good you are with the NNG execution, but usually you're shooting for some time just below 6 minutes with checking everything here. And thanks to getting the bombs, that shouldn't really be a problem.
Yeah, sometimes you'll need to take a little bit of time, farm, kill those snakes, for instance, and hope that you can find some bomb drops. Finding them through the chest, though, eliminates the need for that almost entirely.
Yeah, I'm actually wondering why Ben was charging the spin attack there, because with Master Sword you can just one-shot these guys. Wonder if he just forgot about that.
Yeah, it could be a force of habit.
You don't normally have an extra level of sword by now, so...
No. Either that or he just really wanted to make sure those snakes were taken care of. Can't blame them for that, they're pesky.
They are pretty annoying. A few arrows there, not too bad. You can't buy arrows anywhere, so that's always handy. Lots of money. You know, bombs is good.
It's interesting. I was just going to comment on how they really don't have many rupees yet leaving Escape. You need that 100 for the bottle vendor in Kakariko, and now they've got that ×3.
Yeah,
and 20 dropped by a rat. Not bad.
That's really good.
Yeah, early rupees, early bombs. Those are probably two of the most important things that you can find in Escape.
The only thing that they're missing at the moment is the bottle. Just to get everything out of the Kakariko in one shot. Curse you, rats! And there's the red boomerang, okay. Let's hope it doesn't magically teleport through walls like one of mine did when I was trying to do stuff in GT with it. Oh, AmazingAmpharos going for the South Hyrule play here, and Ben just double checking again what he saw before. Interesting. So, I think AmazingAmpharos is the one who sort of cottoned me onto this before, so I know he does like to do this route. The main sort of stipulations I would have for this is if he basically didn't get those 300 rupees, then I would consider going down here. Nice pull tier, by the way. Blue tree pull tier is the 80 rupees, basically. That's really good. Is admittedly slightly unwieldy to use. Oh,
yikes.
Agar required.
Titan's Mitts being one of those items that is required in every seed regardless of a crystal layout. And they know that they'll have to do Aghanim. Well, Ben knows it, at any rate. Ampharos may find out soon enough, though.
He'll find out once he's done the stuff in South Hyrule. So, he's obviously looking to get a bottle before... Oh, nice red mail, though. Looking to get a bottle before going into Kakariko. And that's pretty much the reason you would go down here. For me, not even gonna pick it up.
You can just sit for a while, Bloomerang.
I wonder if Ampharos is gonna pick that up just for the stuff in GT. I mean, you've already got a boomerang, so it's not clogging your menu space up at all. Could be interesting. But yeah, Ampharos is mostly going down here for the bottle, and hopefully he does find one, but that could easily bit of issue there. That could easily be mitigated if there's one in Kakariko as well. Some bombs and mushroom, that's interesting.
Mushroom from that. A lot of rupees, though.
A lot of rupees, yeah. So the main time I would come down here is if I had less than 50 rupees and more, about 2 or 3 bombs. You need at least 2 if you're going to do all the stuff down here, and you kind of don't want to run out of bombs for going to Kakariko. So, he had the right bomb count, but I probably wouldn't have come down here just because of the amount of rupees that they had. Because you could already buy the stuff from the bottle vendor as is.
Right.
It's like the mirror shield coming out of the blind hut, though. AmazingAmpharos is not going to check the Ice Rod Cave at the moment. Nothing on the valley. It's not even a valley, it's the water hill thing. Words are difficult sometimes. Yeah, nothing on there, so we won't need to worry about the mirror spot. That's an interesting one to find something like Titan's Myth up there. Then it's the navigational challenge of how do I get there.
Right.
Speaking of gloves, though, that's pretty good.
Power Glove's good. With the version 18 logic, having that early is usually a good sign that heading up to Death Mountain might not be a bad play early on.
I like that cape for AmazingAmpharos there as well, off of the hobo.
Wow, what a trade up from the bottle vendor. You spend 100, you get 300. I'm not sure what he's feeling today, but it's generous nonetheless.
Yeah, that's surprising. Mysterious wool chicken fail. And because of that, it'll lead to... So, yeah, AmazingAmpharos is going for mushroom play here. It's not too bad with the way 18 logic works, since this is an item which is accessed after one in like one chain. It's going to be potentially more profitable to go here. So we see Quake coming out for Ben here. Traditionally the least useful of the medallions unless you actually need it for the dungeon, but you never know. Blue potion there, and the flippers. Okay, so he faked flippers to get to the cape, and then the next item he gets is the flippers that would lead into said cape. Go figure. And nothing useful at the race. Okay, so we know where a bottle is if we find Pegasus boots before then. And it's a good one too. Blue potion's probably the best item you can get out of the bottle stuff. So now we have the slight role reversal where A is going to go and check what Ben has already done, and vice versa. Also going to get them lovely rupees out of the pool tree. Little does he know he's going to be swimming in them by the time he's done with Kakariko.
That's just fine. Between the
what
Zora...
do you think of this?
Well, I think that at this point, having Master Sword and the Magic Cape, Ampharos is already going to be thinking about when he should head up to Aghanim, realizing he still needs the boots to get the item, but he's got 2 resources that are going to allow him to get through Aghanim's tower. I'm sorry. You never know where the boots are going to be. He's going to be wondering, is it worth going up there yet without the boots? Is it worth doing it anyway, hoping the boots are on the pyramid? Let me get through this Kakariko stuff first, and then maybe I'll make a decision. Yeah.
So, in Ben's position here, when do you think he's going to go to Death Mountain? Do you think he's going to do that relatively soon, or maybe just not even check the ice cave and whatnot?
I think he'll probably hit that fairly soon as well. The reasoning is that even though it's only got the two spots that you can really access at this point without the mirror, without the hook shot, that being from the Old Man, which has usually been very loving and very generous Old Man in these seeds, and inside of Spectacle Rock. At this point, he's just going for the areas that have the higher chest concentrations, which is by far the better play for the moment.
And even if you can't do anything else up Death Mountain, you do get the save point up there.
Right.
So that by itself can be a useful asset.
Yeah, transportation back there, you just save and quit, select start from Mountain Cave. Get a few Old Man kisses, because this game's never going to start you off with full health after you reload the file.
No, not after you get past... not after you get past the initial... So now we have the so-called Riot Shield for A here. Yep, Ben is also doing exactly the same as what A did, not checking the Ice Rod Cave either, which I do not blame the runners for. It's something I always did anyway, just because the amount of times you get burned for not doing so can be annoyingly high, but you know, more so nowadays than in this logic, but even so, I still just kind of did it anyway, because sometimes it really does pay off, but it's usually saved until you've got at least one of Flute or Boots. At this point, Flute would be when you'd want to do it.
See, now the thing I'm wondering, having the flippers and access to a strength upgrade, they've got a couple of ways that they could get to the Zora. Having plenty of rupees, they could check the ledge as well. The game kind of tells you where to go at times in this version of the logic.
Yeah, and you've got to wonder, is this one of those cases where you're basically being told, hey, doofus, go Zora?
You know, it could just be bait that they may or may not take.
Yeah.
So, if I had to guess right now, Ben is definitely heading to at least Sahasrar's house. Ampharos may be heading south, never mind. He may be taking the Zora route like I suggested.
It's definitely possible. I don't really see what else he'd be doing down here, because I don't think he would want to be going this way for getting to the Ice Rod Cave. It's just a little bit too far out of the way. So, just hard piece, 10 arrows, 20 rupees, nothing too good in that.
Coming up a little bit empty.
Yeah, it's unusual, but then again, I'm too used to the modern. I say modern. It's as if this is like a month old or something.
Hey, as far as technology goes, a month old is ancient, so there's no worries.
Okay, yes. Ooh, I like that. Okay.
Someone dropped a stick of butter from their picnic up on the Zora ledge.
That's gonna make it significantly easier to do Aga Tower here.
Wow, interesting. Quite a development. Bed's gonna turn into Mushroom and then probably just walk straight up to Zora himself afterward. I had to make any gamble on my own.
That's a good way of doing it too.
And there's the boots. Wow.
Okay then. So, I reckon. Never mind doing Death Mountain right now. I reckon with butter and boots in hand, you would immediately do Aga right now. Because you know where Tinesmen are, and you actually would be getting them just about on the way to going to the mountain anyway. Exactly. Because it's just one screen further up. So...
yeah. So that's exactly what it looks like Ampharos is going to do at the moment. Probably a save and quit to the Sanctuary afterward. Beating Aghanim is not going to make him spawn in the Dark World after a save and quit, at least not without the Moon Pearl and the Mirror.
Yeah, is it Moon Pearl locked as well?
It might just be the Mirror then, and Aghanim. That might be my mistake.
I can't remember either way, because I don't think I've ever really had that situation come up. I know it's only really been with the Mirror otherwise, but that's
Either
fine.
Which way, it's some combination of items that he doesn't have. So.
Yeah, so he won't be forced into the world there. And the Gold Sword just one-shots everything in this dungeon. It's like, if you've got Gold Sword or Silver Arrows, those are the two best items here. Fire Rod being third place, because it usually... like, it does kill everything in one hit, but it usually forces you to wait a bit once they burn. So... Fire Rod, as much as I love it, comes in here. Also because it's much more limited than the others in terms of ammo. You know, a sword doesn't exactly run out of ammo in this game.
No, that would be an interesting game to play if it did.
This is not Breath of the Wild. The swords do not run out, so...
So in addition to getting the Titan's Mitts before heading up to the mountain, Bonk Rocks is going to be another option, as well as the King's Tomb, after obtaining the Titan's Mitts. Still a little bit limited with the Titan's Mitts themselves, though, without having the Moon Pearl. Unfortunately, it won't grant them any real Dark World access.
Not yet, but who knows where that could be at Sick Kid, because the bottle is accessible now via the library. Right. Did Ampharos actually check down the bottom when he was in Kakariko? Because I don't think he did.
Oh,
and that would certainly explain most of the sort of time difference here.
Slightly different routing from Ben, though. He's not doing Aghanim just yet. Goes to the Bonk Rocks next to Sanctuary, finds the shovel.
Yeah, okay, so he's doing the Bonk Rock first, and then he's going to take this unusual pathway, which you don't often get to see unless somebody's trying to set up Chris Houlihan, which is quite good. Fun fact, in the Dark World, there is a shop there that you have to drop down from the top to this, like, a thing you can't just walk into because there's a fence at the bottom. And in there is where you can actually buy a fire shield for 500 rupees. That is the only way as a kid that I knew how to get it, because I didn't know about the Waterfall of Wishing until after I'd finished the game. It's been
some time since I've been in that shop as well. I believe you can also buy a golden bee there, but I might be mistaken on that as well.
There's some sort of bee in there. I don't remember if it's a golden one or if it's a regular, but there is definitely a bee in that shop. Just seeing the wild swings come in from AmazingAmpharos there. It really doesn't make any difference how you do this stuff whatsoever, just so long as you don't accidentally hit Aghanim himself. But it's just amusing seeing the different plays of it, because most of the time I see, or like I myself, I'll just do spin attacks next to him, but it's just funny seeing the sort of frenzied swing in front of him there. And of course, the obligatory perfect RNG that the randomizer yields.
Oh, you know, we didn't even ask how many blue balls we were gonna get. We'll have a chance again with Ben. So no worries.
Here's the interesting thing. Because the Moon Pearl is not in their inventory at the moment, they don't get a refill here. Just a heart container. I think I would have picked that up, actually.
I might have two. early on.
I know, Mel, I don't know actually, because red mail is obviously very good for defense stuff, and they do have 7 hearts at the moment. But I've done the game with 7 hearts red mail before, and it's still pretty stressful, so
Yeah.
I probably would have just picked it up. It only takes a little bit extra time.
I mean, he could be betting that for all the chests he's going to wind up opening. The seeds are generally fairly healthy, fairly generous in that regard.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, no, I've had a couple myself where I've wound up finishing with 9, 10, maybe even only 11. And it's still a little bit of a daunting task, even with the red mail.
It's funny because vanilla heart counts are like 13 hearts or something is the lowest you can have in the no major glitches stuff. I know you only have green mail then, but it's just amusing when you play the randomizer how sometimes you can have so many less hearts, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
I've seen go modes with only 5 hearts. Oh, where are you going? I thought he was gonna just go up the mountain. Maybe he is, but he's gonna do King's Tomb first.
That would be logical after saving and quitting and heading back to Sanctuary. He's gonna make a dip to the east and probably check that.
I guess you're looking for the hookshot before you go up.
Hookshot or the mirror would make things at least a little bit more ideal.
Yeah. I guess that's fair. Oh man.
Only a heart piece in the King's Tomb.
Double perfect RNG, how about that? Alright. Green Pendant. Okay, so Ice Palace, Misery Maya, and Palace of Darkness are the pendants, and Palace of Darkness being green. So, Ampharos is going up to the shovel spot first. Okay.
I didn't quite catch which crystal was number 6.
No, I was looking for the pendants, not the crystal numbers.
Right, those stuck out pretty well.
Oh, that's pretty good, though.
I would say so.
Okay, so it's good, but it's not immediately, like, amazing unless you're gonna go and do Eastern now as a result. Which be the worst play, definitely, but I don't know, maybe it's just with the way the logic is. And no, Ampharos didn't do the race stuff before him because he's going to check it now. I didn't even know there was a guard there after you've done the... I've never gone into that screen after beating Aghanim. I didn't know there was a blue guard in that screen. It's actually pretty amusing. It's like, alright, we need to station more units around everywhere. Where's the best place to put them? In this
right in front of this harmless sun maze.
Yeah, in front of this harmless race guy who doesn't actually know anything. There's actually a guard in the race itself as well.
Is there really?
When you have done Aga. That one I know, but it just, like, it's okay. Why are you stationing your people there? It just doesn't make sense. So yeah, I guess, did Ampharos just not do any of Kakariko?
He must have skipped a good portion of it after the well.
Because I know he did the Lost Wood stuff, because I saw him pick up the Blue Boomerang, actually. But yeah, that's interesting. I always get annoyed with the guards when they decide that they're gonna aggro on you from miles away when you're trying to just dash in. It's like, I'm trying to be optimal here, please, just leave me alone.
Oh, and that is just the worst spot for it, too, because they wind up running through the bushes to get into the clearing. When it doesn't look like there's any room to do that, you can't do it, why can they? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that as well. The worst one is when you get clipped in between the bushes, and you know, you just bonk off of them, and it's like, I'm trying to.
Yes.
And because when you bonk off of something, it aggroes every guard in the place regardless of where they are. So it just gets super irritating. And yeah, looks like neither of them are taking the Death Mountain at the moment. I mean, Ben might. We still haven't seen what he's going to do after Sick Kid. But A is definitely going after Eastern right now.
I think it's a good play, honestly.
Yeah,
that mountain is still so limited, only having the Old Man and inside of Spectacle Rock. You at least have a full crystal dungeon that you can complete at this point with the bow.
Not to mention, this is, you said Crystal 5, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
could be really important ones. According to our tracker, it looks like Thieves Town would be crystal number 6.
Ooh, okay.
Another easy one to defeat. That leaves a lot of option for the Fat Fairy.
So that would be tempting even if I didn't get the hammer before going in.
I agree.
Because they have killed Aga, so they have access to Pyramid via the mirror into the light world. So even if I didn't have the hammer to get one item in Thieves Town, you've just got to remember that that is something you go back and do.
Right. So I'm sure that they might be hoping to find the Moon Pearl within Eastern Palace, and quite the nice sync from them going through these rooms
look at this
together.
How awesome is that? Just
it's a really great comparison. By this point in the run, a little bit of a bonk. That'll cost them a moment. Big key early is always nice. At this point, I think that even with slightly different routes, they've checked all of the same places. They've kind of come back together.
Yeah, it's actually pretty amazing the way that set itself up.
See, it would almost be nice to have this set up like an MMO kind of thing, and they would be like literally seeing each other go by each other.
I feel like that might be a little bit too much information giving, but at the same time, it'd be awesome.
It'd be funny, like, wait, what are you doing here? Why are you here?
Yeah, just to see the high fives as they cross each other in certain rooms or whatever, that would be really cool.
Right.
So far, just money in this place. Nothing too fancy yet, but 2 more items to find. It would be pretty cool to find silver arrows here. Nice use of the bow from Ben there. See if AmazingAmpharos does sword beams with this, or if he just does the traditional thing. Half and half.
Half. Perfect, that works. Both runners get a bottle of red goo from the, I believe that's the compass chest, natively.
I think so, yeah. Aw, too bad.
And then the compass from the big chest.
Too bad. Ben's gonna take the gamble here. I don't think he is, but we'll see. Yep. When you've got Tempered Sword or above, there's no need to use an arrow against the Igors, the green ones. You can just slash them in one shot. Oh no, he is gonna take the risk. Okay. So both of them either win here or lose here based on what his armor is.
Right. Neither one's going to be an advantage. Yeah, because they're still missing the one item and I believe the map, right?
Yes. Because the big key was in the first chest and then the compass is the only non-item we've seen that way.
This might be the first time I've actually seen that gamble. What are your thoughts on it?
I'm generally pretty risk-averse with these things, so I'll always just not take that sort of gamble, but I have seen it from a couple of people, usually from players who think they're going to be behind them. Fantastic! Oh. Neither of them are going to get a payout off of it, but fantastic fight there. Absolutely amazing. But yeah, I'm usually of the mind to just clear the rest of it, because it's a case of if it is what you need, then that's great, you save yourself some time having to go back in. If it's not what you need, then, oh well, you probably save more, you probably waste less time doing that than if you get it wrong.
No, absolutely. It's in the longest chest to get to in this dungeon.
Yeah, but... oh, that's a risk.
Ampharos, what are you doing? Did you count your items?
I think he did, and he's just taking the chance that it's not useful.
Yeah,
but considering Palace of Darkness is a pendant, I don't like that. Seen Ben once again using the bow to good effect. I probably would have just used sword beams there because ammo is kind of an issue. I mean, you can pick up arrows from here, but you've got to remember to do that. And you've got to take your time out to do that as well, and it doesn't look like he's too interested in that. You don't tend to use the bow too often for a lot of things, so you often forget about your arrow count, and then you get to something like Vitreous, or you get to the Palace of Darkness stuff, or worst case, Ice Armors, and you suddenly go, oh, I only have like 12 arrows. When did this happen? It's just something that when you're in arrow-laden dungeons like this, you may want to keep that. Just stock up whilst you're here, Oh, lucky. Okay.
Ampharos catching a break on this one. Not that he knows it for sure.
I didn't actually see what the old man... Oh, the old man just gave Vanilla Mirror, okay. Well then.
No, we can't complain about that.
Not at all, but it's just interesting that we were saying, oh, there's only 2 items up here. And look at what would have happened if we went up here earlier.
That's true. Even without and the hooks. Oh my! You know what?
Wow. Okay. Yeah. This is just one of those things that we were mentioning how lucrative Death Mountain could be, even with only 2 items available. And look at how it's gone. I don't know if I mean we need to see the Moon Pearl first, but assuming that Moon Pearl has to be over the other side, which the only way that could not be the case is if the available. Because the flute would allow you to get, because they've got Titans, the flute would let you get that one chest in the one checkerboard cave.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no! Curse you, squirrels! The checkerboard cave in top right of the desert is accessible even without the Moon Pearl. So that is the... Be careful! That is the only way that Pearl cannot be on this mountain if I'm looking at this right.
Gonna hope to find a fire source too for the Tower of Hera, assuming that one of the remaining items is in the basement.
Yeah, I haven't been looking at what else was there. There's 20 rupees there. You do realize, I mean, unless you've already got both the things, I didn't see before, so maybe he's gotten both items. It is actually possible to do... Yeah, he must have gotten both items.
He didn't even check the big chest, so I'm assuming so.
Oh, looks like he is now. So he could have used a hookshot and then bonked off of the chest to get back. So that's why I was getting a bit confused there. Because I was thinking, if he was still needing to check the chest, then why didn't he just do that? We'll probably see Ben do that later, once he actually goes around to get stuff here. I'm not sure if I particularly agree with the way that Ben's doing this, because he's now banking on getting the hammer in order to not waste time going back up to Tower of Hera here. But on the other
could just be
side of it,
on a matter of chest density.
Yeah, and on the other side of it, if he gets Book of Medora over here, then he can check the Ether Tablet without any issue as well.
Yeah, so it could definitely play off in his favor.
Oh, that is it. There is an item down there because map was in the big chest, compass was for Moldom. That is something you're going to have to remember.
You got lucky with Eastern Palace not having another important item. It may not be the case with the basement of the Tower of Hera.
Ether, okay. Still haven't seen the Pearl.
And at this point, the Spiral Cave might have something after all.
Yeah, I feel like it needs to, doesn't it?
I would think so at this point. Yeah, I mean,
AmazingAmpharos didn't pick up the hookshot beforehand, okay.
No, he went straight up to the Tower of Hera. Silver arrows, it looks like, on the top of the floating island.
That's pretty cool, because Turtle Rock is required, so we may well see that being picked up. I think the silvers would still save more time between the red mimics and the Ganon fight.
No, I agree. Yeah, that'd be a quick little thing to pick up on your way from Turtle Rock to Ganon's Tower. You get a bottle with the
peanut bead. Okay. So what gives with that?
Well, neither one of them have checked Agha's cave yet either.
Oh, that's true. That is so true. Wow. Okay. So this is one of those seeds, huh?
Maybe.
I like this strat for Ben here.
They do at least have access to check the Super Bunny cave, although that wouldn't be required. That would sequence break something. But I mean, that could get them out of this rut that they're in at the same time.
Yeah, I suppose Fluke. It wouldn't lead to the Moon Pearl in that case, but it could be there.
Interesting developments then.
Yeah, this is one of those seeds where you end up doing everything and nothing quite gives you what you need to progress yet until you get that one location. And in this version of the logic, okay, so there's that cave and then there's still the Ice Rod Cave. Neither of them have checked that either. And yeah, those are two really far out the way locations that in the new logic you'd be expecting to have items much more often. But
and those are the only two spots that I can think of that neither runner has checked at this point.
Yeah, that's the extent of what we're looking for, I think. So that's seeing the silvers up there as well. So what are we reckoning then? Flute at Ice Rod Cave? Just because neither of them checked it before?
Book of Medora is an option, a fire source to come all the way back up to Hera.
Oh my goodness, if Book of Medora is there and then the flute is on the side of the ledge. Even. Oh, that would be even worse.
You know, hey, you asked. I gotta give you my possibilities.
I mean, that would be awesome, because that's the sort of thing that, you know, get denied, but it's always funny when you see that, just the bounce back up. So, yeah, it looks like Ampharos' reading is slightly better here overall because he has already checked all the stuff he can up on mountain. Could have actually kept dashing there because you can charge through those guys with the golden sword. But
and that's something that I often forget. The buzz blobs don't actually electrify you if you slash them with the golden sword.
I used to think that it was with tempered sword as well when I was, but it is not.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't realize it at all until about a week or two ago.
Yeah, it's not with it. I mean, at least not in this version. Maybe there's region differences. Oh, just a bunch of money there. Okay.
I mean, it's a very rich cave, but that's not what we're looking for.
Yeah, I think we've seen just about every 300 rupee in this, right? There's only 4 of them, isn't there? I think we've seen at least 3. So
it's been rich, that's for sure. So just as a quick note for anybody that may just be joining us, this is the A Link to the Past Randomizer Tournament bracket stage match between Ben and the AmazingAmpharos. And this is match number 1 between them in a best-of-3 series.
It's still fantastic seeing how close these two are, and basically seeing they are doing exactly the same stuff here.
Yeah, through almost 40 minutes now, they've covered almost everything.
Oh, there it is!
The moon troll's on the ledge. Where's the book? It's gotta be an egg in a tree.
It has to be in here, doesn't it? It's
gotta be. Actually, technically, no. This would be weird, but it could be the flute, and then they get backdoor.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Ah.
Yeah, because the mirror is available there. So this could be that time.
Both runners looking for one item that's going to allow them to progress at this point. And there it is, Book of Medora.
There it is, okay.
I was hoping for flute personally, but
yeah, it would have been more interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you know, we have our reasons for that.
Oh man, this seed so far, just
unreal.
So the nice thing here, in a way, is that neither of them have been starved for progress. Because of the nature of the Crystal Dungeons in the Light World and the Aghanim stuff for Titan'smith, neither of them have been doing, if you like, useless movements here. There's been no Pendant Dungeon exploration, and there really hasn't been much of anywhere that was completely unnecessary. Like, sure, Ice Rod Cave, but we're down to 2 locations. You've got to pick one of them. And yeah, both of them have been making solid progress, even though they've been struggling to find that one thing.
Yeah, if there's one thing I like to see, it's that there's never any stoppage. They're not stopping and thinking about what to do next. They know what their options are. They're just putting them off in a strategic order to go for what was left, and Aghanim Cave being the last place to check.
So imagine if they had come down here earlier, and they would have had the hammer as well by now.
See, that would have been interesting. I think the thought process must have been, though, how can you justify coming into the desert area for only Aghanim Cave?
That has been my thought process during a fair few of the new logic seeds as well, and I've been burned pretty much every time I thought that. So, you know...
Yeah, it's not too common I see something useful there, so I mean, why take the risk? But it would have paid off this time.
It's just one of those things. So interesting use of the mirror there. I'm never quite sure exactly how best to go around this dungeon when it comes to stuff with the Pegasus spirits.
I think at that point, with optimal execution, especially against the sandworm thing, it might be a second or two faster to mirror back. Tried doing a couple of time trials on it myself, and it was very, very similar. Not enough to make or break anything.
Neither of them have got a fire source, and compass. Compass was the final thing there. Both players doing the same thing again with this. It's almost as if they've practiced this.
They may have. Many times, I would bet. So Moon Pearl's gonna be what they grab out on this ledge. And from there, it's gonna be Dark World time. Where do they enter the Dark World first, though? They have tons of options at this point.
I would want to say Hype Cave myself. I think that's where I would start from, because there's the point at the house straight away. Oh, but Ampharos is taking a different approach. This is also fine. You can get the silver arrows whilst you're up here, and you can check the Hookshot Cave as well. So this is also pretty good. Gives you some information about Turtle Rock as well. What you do for that? Ah, I'm getting stuck behind this scroll.
Fortunately, you can't hookshot by them when they're right there either.
No.
That's gonna be rough.
Like, your hookshot can reach across, but it doesn't do anything unless it goes over solid ground there for some reason. Which is bizarre, I have no idea why. So Ben's gonna take, I imagine, Village of Outcasts here as his option.
Here's what I'm wondering and speculating myself. Being that they do have the hammer now, and Thievestown is the 6th crystal, why not knock that out right away and open up the Big Bomb location?
Yeah, that might be what Ben is thinking here. So the way I was thinking of it myself is I would go down towards Hype Cave just because of how often that has been something really good in this version, and I would have worked my way back up to the Village of Outcasts.
Having the Titans mitts, yeah, you can do that easily.
Yeah. So that would have probably been the way I'd go about it myself, but that, again, doesn't make it right or wrong, and just a heart container. Well, I say just a heart container, that's not really a bad thing to find here at all.
So it looks like he's gonna enter Thievestown then and knock that out. Yeah, based on
there's the flute. So flute and Super Bunny. Did I not call that?
You know, between starting around the Hype Cave though, starting in the Village of Outcasts, checking the mountain, there's 3 distinct options. None of them are really bad. They're all viable.
This is the part which I really like about the random stuff, is when you get this sort of option where you can do a bunch of places and they are all good options to do. None of them are necessarily, as you say, a wrong choice, and really it just comes down to what you feel is best at the time. What does your instinct tell you to do? Clearly, AmazingAmpharos' instinct told him to do what I was thinking about earlier on, or what you were mentioning with the Super Bunny stuff. As I imagine if the flute was there, you know. Kind of funny how that works out. Now, is he going to get those silvers as well? Absolutely.
Yeah, that could have even been the sole reason that he went back up there, seeing them knowing it's easily accessible right now. Why not?
Sadly, he doesn't have to do most of the dungeons that actually benefit from silvers, though. Because Maya is a pendant, and so is Palace of Darkness, and they've both already done Easton. So they aren't going to come into play until the end of the game, but that is still a pretty big endgame here. Now here's the fun thing, we are going to see the Ether Tablet and I imagine Spike Cave here as well, whilst we're in the area. Just as soon as these Lionels decide that they're not going to...
You've got the Mirror Shield, turn around though, block those.
Yeah, the problem is trying to get a start with the Pegasus bits there.
Right, no, I can feel that.
So, has Ben found anything interesting in Thievestown yet? I just saw the arrow boosters there, nothing really too special.
I must admit, I've been watching AA through his Death Mountain run.
I'm not seeing any. Oh no, I'm seeing Fire Rod on the tracker, so yes, quite clearly. Well, alright then, I guess that settles that question. Fire Rod is really good to have, especially when Skull Woods is both close and necessary.
Gonna have to switch over to the cape. Doing Spike Cape with only, what is that, 8 hearts? Is, that's tough. Not a lot of work to go through before switching and using the cape, and that just sucks magic, crazy.
Yeah, it is a really rough to have there. Oh, just 20 rupees in the chest. Well, the nice thing about Fire Rod in this location is the fact of it is Crystal 6. I know we've mentioned it before, but it is definitely somewhere that you would prioritize. It's the nice thing about it being here is that you're not really going to be able to miss it.
And now, GamerCal, I have to ask, do you know what time it is?
Is it Swag Dog time?
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise and remove your hats for the singing of Hyrule's terrible national anthem? In just a moment. You might like roasted duck, but I prefer roasted tear. How could he forget? The shovel was there. He might say, what is this? While these players do their best, at least they didn't forget the sanctuary chest.
Okay, that was beautiful. Not gonna lie.
Shoutouts to Tear, guys.
Shoutouts indeed. So that was definitely one huge advantage for going back up the mountain. I mean, Kane of Samaria is pretty good too, right? But
Kane of Samaria is fantastic, but you know what? The advantage was purely from the flute, because that's hands down the best item ever for reasons that we all know quite well.
Yeah. So it looks like Brian is the only thing in my house this time, so that's fine. Don't really need that.
Alright. And at this point, I'll admit, as soon as I saw Ampharos get the flute, I had to focus on that, but now I can have to focus in on both runners equally.
Oh yeah. So Ben
I believe
is
this will be the first time we'll see the digging game.
Yeah. Ben's basically doing the reverse route of what I would have done. Which is probably better in a way, because now you get the super bomb when he gets down there. But, you know, hindsight and all of that. Oh, but that's not actually what he's gonna do, okay. I suppose he's gonna get the... maybe he will still do this, but he's gonna take the chest down as well. So this is one case where I would agree with doing this. There's a lot of times where I see people do this this whole Dark World navigation with the chesting when they could just flute there. Obviously he doesn't have the flute, so that is one big plus for doing it this way. But the other is that he can chat bomb bursts afterwards. If you don't have the book when coming down here and you've got the flute, there is no point in doing the Dark World way of this, because you're just going to slow yourself down. Yeah,
it's a little bit of a long walk, but between the item locations you can check in fairly close proximity, it really doesn't take that long. In total, then you're going to be taking out another 4 locations, I believe.
Yep.
It's definitely the slow walk, but
there is the counterfeit powder. I was just thinking that maybe that was going to be there, but yeah, the low-grade powder is actually the item there, so they'll be able to sort that too.
I'd imagine he's going to top it. Yep, knock out the bat, say hey to him, wake him up a little bit, make him sneeze in his face, maybe. Who knows? Whatever bat things do.
Just bat things. I was hoping he would dash straight away when getting down there. It's easy enough to forget to do so, but if you start the dash when you're straight in the middle of the room, then you just do the stuff as normal and pick the chest up on the way back out. But, doesn't really matter. It's just at that point, why like go with the chest at all? You know.
Mm-hmm.
So meanwhile, just trodden through these down here, nothing too fancy out of it. It's one of those dungeons that's not really too difficult to, like, execution down for as well. The only thing you have to be careful of is if you don't have a lift upgrade by the time you get down here, you actually have to kill all the enemies in here around. So
yeah,
that can happen in this place quite a bit nowadays.
And something that is a possibility, even if you don't have a lift upgrade, you can still enter the dungeon without one.
Yeah.
You can just pull that right open. And as far as, I mean, in the case of whether or not this was a pendant dungeon, it's still a fairly good place to check.
Yeah.
The chests are pretty much all right along the way, and you pretty much need to do them all anyway.
Oh yeah.
Thieves' Town is one of those dungeons that I would say is always a good play. In this case, especially a good play, being that it's going to be one of our remaining crystals to open up the Fat Fairy. Beautiful lantern pickup.
Not bad, is it?
No, that's
basically just says no to dark rooms in this.
That's not even a question. The lantern is never bad, and that's where that kind of boring, dreary walk with the purple chest pays off.
Yeah. Now, as much as I'd have said I'd have done the height cave and stuff like that first, I kind of prefer Ben's method here. Because he has actually been able to do a lot more stuff in the chain here. He's not going to have to do any backtracking around this place, which is very, very good. Mm-hmm. Super efficient run.
The question is, at what point does he remember to head up to Death Mountain?
Yeah, that's going to be pretty big, isn't it? Oh, Blue Potion's pretty good.
Yeah,
so that is
not a terrible hype cave.
So that is 2 Blue Potions, a Red Potion, and a B is what they've got then.
Solid bottle lineup, I say.
Yeah. Oh, can we remove those from the game? Seriously.
They just appear at the most inopportune time.
They are the worst. That is probably by far the most annoying thing for me still left in this. It's just because you can't dash through anywhere in the Dark World but running into them. It's just obnoxious.
It's unfortunate.
Aw, just an upgrade for the arrows there.
So what do you think about Ben making a play in the swamp after he checks the Bombos tablet?
Could do. That is a crystal dungeon, and he has all the stuff to do it. It's in line, and we're still looking for the ice rod. So
Now,
I don't think.
I'm sorry.
I think you're about to ask what I was going to mention there. I don't believe we saw what T-Rock requires.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask.
There you go. I can't remember seeing it, and it looks like Ben is not. Oh, there we go.
Turtle Rock with Ether is what we're being told.
Okay, so it is Ice Rod and Go, pretty much.
Do we know what, well, never mind. Misery Mire is a pendant.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, because Mire is a pendant, so it is Ice Rod and Go. But
theoretically,
Ice Rod is literally the worst item in the game, and it can be pretty much anywhere.
What's in Misery Mire?
So, yeah.
Or, here's a loaded question, what's in the pedestal?
Yeah. Ice Rod is Ice Rod is probably one of the most common pedestal items if you go in to find one at all, just because it has that I can be anywhere thing. And whenever Turtle Rock is required, Ice Rod there is definitely a high possibility.
And when Turtle Rock happens to be a pendant, you find the Ice Rod and escape, like, every time.
Yep.
That's just the game slapping you right in the face.
In my own play of this, since the Master Sword was available as a thing, as we get the flute and Samaria for Ben here, in my personal play of this, I think I've had about 6, maybe 7 pedestal seeds, and 2 of those have been Ice Rod.
See, that's where, and I hate to keep saying it because I know I'm going to jinx myself in the worst way possible at some point. I have never had a pedestal seed.
I had 2 in a row a couple of days ago.
Oh, what did you
one
do
of
to
them,
get
one
so
of them
unlucky?
in a race. And I was like, what?
Oh, terrible. That's not good.
The first timed one-hit KO mode I did actually had Bombos at the pedestal when it was needed for Turtle Rock. So that was interesting because you're already on the clock, so that it's a one-hit KO mode, and then bam, you know, pedestal required, have fun.
Oh, yeah. So Ben's going to make the same wise trip up a little bit further north and grab the silver arrows from the mountain island, floating island.
Absolutely.
What other names are there for that island? I don't know if it has an official name. I always just called it the floating island.
I mean, you can swim outside of it with glitching, right? That's how you kind of get in there without actually having the mirror and whatnot. Is this you can clip into the clouds outside it, and I've seen Christos swimming there. So
swimming in the clouds. That sounds
sea of
heavenly.
clouds, I think, is probably a pretty good descriptor for that. But the sword beams being annoying.
Right, that's one of the issues, actually, with sword beams. They can be useful for long-range attacks and whatnot, but when you want to get the hit in with the sword itself, those sword beams tend to interfere, and they only do fighter sword damage.
Yeah, I really don't like sword beams in this. So, the advantage that Ben had over AA coming up here is that he has fire sources. So he can actually go ahead and check the basement here, item that he knows.
Yeah.
Get before.
You know, if this winds up, and I'm just speculating, not trying to necessarily build any false hype, because I'm probably wrong, if it winds up being the ice rod, that's going to be one of the least likely spots for Ampharos to head back and check, I think. That's pretty far out of the way.
And hey, we've seen it here before, in the freeway race with Rubel, I believe, was when he was the only one of the three that checked this, and the ice rod happened to be here. That single-handedly won that race by a wide margin. So it really doesn't look like there was anything significant in Skull Woods there, which is a bit of a shame, but it's a crystal dungeon, needs to be done anyway. Unfortunately taking a hit at the end there so you could use the sword beam to actually hit. Could have used a fire rod though. Just pocket change. And just a heart there as well. It's even more suitable for that.
So this is the seed of the deepest chests in dungeons being heart related. Eastern Palace, Heart Piece, Tower of Hera, Heart Container. So, great guesses, great routing by Ben, but not what we're looking for, not that one thing.
So here's another interesting play from Ampharos, not actually checking the other stuff around the village there, but instead going for Misery Maya area. He can finish Desert, which is good, but... Oh my goodness, there it is as well.
There it is.
Wow. Okay, that's kind of interesting.
Now, do we know if Ampharos needs the lamp?
I'm pretty sure he doesn't. I would be very surprised if he does. I don't like the portal placement. As soon as he comes out of this dungeon, he is gonna get put in the wall, and he's gonna mirror bonk here. From experience, I know that's a very irritating way to waste time.
Sure. So I suppose then we have a pseudo go mode, depending on whether or not Ampharos needs the lamp for Turtle Rock. But well, he may be skilled enough. I personally haven't watched enough of him to know.
Well, he did do it eventually in the commentary before, and he promised me he would do it better this time. So I'm gonna hold him to that, because I pretty much know he is in go mode at this point. Oh. And like I said, I'm gonna hold him to it. He's told me he would do that room better than he did before, so he's gotta do it. that's all there is to it.
Well, before the match started, Cal, you and I were discussing our own experiences with dark rooms and whatnot, and Turtle Rock was always one of the most intimidating for me to even consider. I've never personally tried it as a result. But I watched someone do it recently, and I was so impressed with it. I want to see it again.
It is secretly the easiest in the game. I've mentioned it before. Look at this, straight over as well. This is something I actually do myself as well. As soon as I have access to Maya, I usually check around, even if I don't need to go in, because the chests here are pretty accessible.
They're so
and I've had
quick.
some ridiculously good things in here before. And yeah, look at that, straight away. We have a race on our hands here. The thing is, AmazingAmpharos is actually relatively far ahead here. Okay, Ben has only got a couple of quick things to do, but that is 2 dungeons still to do, even though this will only take like a minute or so to do this one. Skull Woods is still has to be reached and has to be done, and AmazingAmpharos has only got the 2 left. Yeah, it's not a slow dungeon. It's just
it's the time to get there. That's the concern.
Yeah, like I think it's actually around about 8 to 4 minutes ahead here because of those dungeons to be clear, which is a pretty sizable lead. It just comes down to what is being checked in the overworld compared to the dungeons. And the ordering too, because that flute pickup did definitely save some time.
It seems so. It wasn't apparent immediately. Especially with finding items like the lantern and Ben finding the fire rod earlier as a result of doing Thieves Town beforehand, but...
Yeah, the lamp would make more of a difference if this was a seed that needed one of Pod or Maya.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, not going with the
right.
arrows here. Interesting.
They can be a little bit tricky to aim with on the land molas. Fire rod, you get a couple of quick shots. They travel super fast.
Yeah, Ice Rod does the same amount of damage, but is also slower and a bit more awkward to hit with. I've tried it; it's pretty tricky.
Definitely not easy. So a full go mode Swamp Palace is going to be super quick as well, skipping almost everything. This is one of 2 dungeons that you actually don't need a big key to reach the boss in.
The other one being Skull Woods, which is quite good. I don't think it matters too much what order you do things in from here. You may want to leave Skull Woods for last, as Ben is doing here, because if for whatever reason Argus happens to drop half magic, then that would help out a lot more for Skull Woods.
That's true.
Although with the skill level of these 2, I don't think it really matters too much, especially with Ben. I've seen Ben do the sort of quick kill strats on Moth before, so...
But it's certainly fun to play the speculating game and think, hey, what's this guy gonna drop?
Yeah. And then you've got the other side of this, of the whole like potion stack that they happen to have means that you don't even have to go and buy safeties during this with all of that, you know, 4-figure money that they happen to have here.
Right.
Which is
no, that's valid. You said they have what, 2 blues and 1 red as backup?
2 blues, a red, and a B. So the B is clearly the most important bit here. I mean, if you ask Tara, of course. But,
all Bs are equally important. Yeah, so they've got a healthy supply of safeties. They both have the magic powder. No, Ampharos does not have a magic powder, actually. Well, Ben has a magic powder, so that's a healthy supply of safeties.
Yeah. The magic powder is always something I like to have going up to the top of the tower, just because it gives you that 14 heart recovery at the very top.
Yeah.
But if I don't have that, just take an extra potion or something. Use the red potion whenever. If you happen to have that,
it's all a bit mood, I guess. They'll be fine either way. I feel. I'm confident in both of them.
Absolutely.
Let's see, not quite going for the quick Argus kill, but still making quick work nonetheless.
I need to learn how to do this boss bit. I've sort of had Andy explain a little bit of it to me, where you time dashes after bringing one of them in with a hook to kill them, so that you still get the full damage from the sword. But I'm not very good with that, to be honest. He always moves far too quickly into me, and I just don't get positioning right.
It's a tough glitch to pull off. Best way that I could think to kind of explain it would be to, as you're dashing into Argus's room, hold the B button with one of your fingers so that the sword stays out, and then you instigate like a hook dash with Y and A at the same time while you're still holding B, and that kind of keeps that sword position out.
Yeah.
Never done it quite perfectly myself. I can usually get a few of them.
I think one sort of thing to try and practice that would be to see about getting the quick dash, if you like, up the stairs and in Death Mountain here. Like, we won't see it now, but Ben did it earlier, where you have the sword held out and you do a hook dash on the,
yes, it's that exact same concept, actually.
Yeah, so I think if I practiced it a bit with that, then yeah, it would be more sort of natural at that stage. But that is a really awkward finger setup when you've got, you know, the B button for the sword, and then you've got to hit Y and A on the opposite sides of the pad. It's pretty tricky.
Oh, but there we go. We just saw Ben get quite a few of them using that method.
Yep.
And he's just going to elect to go with regular spin attacks against Argus. Spin attacks with the Butter Sword not actually doing any extra damage, but they certainly make an easier hitbox.
So this seems really crazy when you think about this. We're an hour and just under an hour, 5 minutes in, and AA is doing the final dungeon here.
I didn't even notice the time.
That's ridiculous.
That's
yeah, it was like it was about a 50 to 55 minute go mode, but because of the nature of the progress in this seed, AmazingAmpharos had done 5 crystals before getting that go mode. So, you know, that by itself is pretty good. 5 crystals in less than an hour, but
no, without a doubt, fantastic. So Turtle Rock, unfortunately, one of the dungeons that can always slow down your go mode. You need a couple of small keys, and it's very possible that you need to wind up checking every single chest in order to find that last small key.
Yeah, the absolute ideal thing here would be if the big key and is in the first 4 chests, and every single one of those chests otherwise is a small key. You don't want to see any dungeon. You can't use the ice rod in those torches. You don't want to see any dungeon items here. You don't want to see any actual drops. You just want to see small keys and the big key in one of the chests.
Yeah, early big key is always a good one on this when you're in go mode, because later on you end up getting a small key in a room with. Yeah,
that's a lot of damage.
That is a lot. There's a room with a pokey in it and 4 anti-fairies. Yeah. You can find the big key before that. Oh, interesting. They both entered at the same time. Both screens were black for a split second. It just confused me for a moment.
What's wrong with my stream?
You don't need to go through that small key door in the pokey room. Because at best, you're going to get another small key out of it.
Love those fire rod dashes, by the way. That is something I should probably learn to do as well. The fire rod dashes there, just speeding that just that tiny little bit. So you can see Ben is very quickly making his way through here, but it will just be a question of how much can he make up, because AA is no slouch when it comes to execution.
No, he's a super consistent player. If you could pick one quality to have, consistency is one of the best, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing the room in the dark might slow him down just a little bit, but probably not enough on its own.
He's still got that promise to maintain, so...
Well, the more you do it, the better you get. That's usually how things go.
Yeah. Too bad he doesn't have the powder for this room, because just using the magic powder against those anti-fairies is really... Because look at this, you just can't get away from that.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the rougher spots of it.
Yeah, and he doesn't have any powder for safety here. I mean, you could use a potion, but you really don't want to burn a potion here. So, unfortunately, we'll most likely have to check the chest. Yeah, because I've heard him be pretty vocal about this before, that it's a terrible gamble not to open the chest here. Even though there are 5 chests going to the rest of the dungeon, and at least one of those could have a small key. Every time you don't take this chest, one of those is going to be, that's going to be it. There's no small key there. So... Oh, there's
only the blue mail in this case. No. You know what, though? Even seeing a small key there once is enough to make it to the point that you can't ever count it out. Because that's one of those situations where you lose far less time going to check it and being wrong than not checking it at all and being wrong.
Yeah, because you can't even mirror back towards that spot because you haven't left the dungeon at all, so there's no spot for you to mirror to. And there's the small key that we needed, so no need to check the eye bridge this time. which of course means that iBridge is going to have quarter magic now because we're not going. Alright, here we go. Oh, gotta actually get the platform in first.
I think he fell. I see a heart drop. I think he's going to use the red potion here at least.
That's fine. There we go. He's on the right path to start with here. Every time he started this before, he went left to begin with. So you can see the switch has been hit. And now it is basically just... You can tell when you've started moving in a direction. And it is just a case of hold a couple of directions. And make sure you don't keep holding. There we go.
There you go. They made that look so easy.
Yep. You just have to make sure you don't hold left at the very end all the way through, because as soon as that platform starts moving, you start moving, and you will walk off the platform. I think he did that the first time as well, so there we go.
That's a tough thing to see, because a couple of those fire bars might be out of your eyesight at that point. It's tough to tell. It's tough to have a reference of if you're actually moving or not. Yep.
Like I said, it's secretly the easy, well, not so secretly now, but it's secretly the easiest dark room of the... To be honest, you just have to have a sort of decent grasp about how that room works in the first place. So I mean, if you have the grasp of how to do it in the light, then doing it in the dark is really not too much of a difference. It's just detecting when you actually have changed direction.
And the more I see it, the more and more that makes sense. That's something that I definitely want to learn myself now.
Yeah, fire it up in the practice ROM and just change the lamp to not on, and you can practice it that way really easily.
Beautiful quick Trinex kill from Ampharos.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Really, really well done.
Just 50 rupees. The dragon treasure is a bit more valuable this time than it was the last time I did this. So, dungeon is complete at 1:11:21. That is insane.
So guys, get those chests in.
Yeah, definitely get the guesses in.
You know
if
the
GT
game by
is
this point.
free, if GT is free, this could be a sub 120 for AA here.
So for those of you that may be new to watching the Randomizer tournament, one of the most fun games that we play is where is the Ganon's Tower big chest going to be? What chest location is it going to be? It could be 21, it could be 12. Shameless Rush reference there, by any means. But which one is it going to be? Which way does it go first, right or left? Multitude of guesses.
For those who have not been playing since last year, in version 6 and below, I believe, the location of the big key was glitched to only be in one of 3 specific spots. That being the randomizer. Oh, nice butter there as well. Just to add to that, you know, I know they already had the thing, but the freaking tempered sword giving the final thing there. One sword always has to be in GT, right? But yeah, in version 6, there was only 3 rooms it could be in. The so-called rando room, which is the one that you bomb the wall to get into, then hit the switch that doesn't look different from any other tile on the floor, and there's 4 chests in there. It could be in Bob's room, or it could be in the vanilla location past the Armor's Knights. Those were the only locations you could actually find the big key in version 6. Version 7 fixed that, and since then, it has been a wild card as to where we're going to find it.
Yeah, I actually didn't realize that little fact about version 6.
Yeah, I didn't know it until Christos mentioned it in one of the chats at one point, and I was like, huh, now that you mention it, that does sound about right. I should have probably noticed this before.
Fortunately, not finding it yet, but a plethora of small keys. He's probably not going to have to deal too much with the mini Helmasaur room later on.
That's nice. If you need at least 1 small key before going up in order to not take a gamble as you're climbing the tower. But if you have 2, then you don't have to kill the mini Helmasaurs you mentioned there as well. Yeah, make sure you hit that first. You can't use it in the doorway. So it was this room where I was trying to use the boomerang strats and I didn't get it with the blue one, so I tried with a red boomerang and it disappeared through the wall. And I don't know if you saw the clip of that or if you've just seen it before, but yeah, it disappeared through the wall and I was just like, what on earth has happened here?
Red boomerang was like, bye. That's actually one of the couple of rooms where the blue boomerang has a very distinct use.
Yeah. I was being told afterwards that I just need more, and I could use it that way. But I might just stick with the Canis and Mario. less complicated. So this is the rando room coming up here. And it looks as if it's a solid 3-minute difference here, from what I'm remembering of Ampharos finishing the dungeon. There's the quarter magic, okay. Alright, so hopefully we see some fire rod straps going up the gauntlet now.
I'm just gonna say it now, 3-minute difference or not, tough as that might be to come back from, that's still an extremely close race. I just want to give a shout out to both of these runners. I saw that we got a runner's link in our chat. Go give these guys follows. They deserve your support. They are outstanding at this game. They put on a fantastic show for us this afternoon. Plain and simple. Go give these guys a follow.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the time that we're talking about here. Even if Ben can't make this difference up, we are talking about a time that is definitely sub 130 for sure.
For both runners, absolutely.
Because worst case scenario here, I see GT taking a total of about 10 minutes. And there's no way that Ganon is taking more than 2 or 3.
I would say about 2, unless someone happens to... I don't want to jinx anything, unless something bad happens.
Yeah.
But...
it is right side!
Butter Sword and Silver Arrows, Ganon fight's usually under 2 minutes.
Yeah. Ben is sensibly enough not taking the gamble on my side here. There's not really any reason to. I'd imagine you'd be pretty pleased about your position here. Like, even knowing how good your opponent is, I'd imagine you'd be pretty happy with this. Going into Ganon's Tower at 115, you're thinking, yeah, I'm probably in a pretty good spot here. No need to take unnecessary risks.
Yeah, I would agree with that completely.
Also, seeing, just going back with the King of Samaria room at the start there, seeing the way A did that, it is actually possible if you dash, basically as soon as you enter that room, to dash in between the spikes as it's moving there. It's pretty tricky, but it is definitely possible. Very nicely done around that Gib, though.
We're gonna see if we get a tile room. We did not.
Nope. Thankfully.
Okay.
And yeah, just gonna open the other ones to try and look for a second key.
You know, yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because he had 4 keys at one point. Now he only has the big key on 1, which is enough to get up, because one of the many Helmosaurs is going to drop that second key. But those can be pretty annoying to deal with at times.
There was probably a key in the tile room.
I would guess so.
So A doing my old strat with this, actually, to just go up along the top rather than taking the damage, which is really good because he doesn't have the magic powder.
Yeah, you gotta play it a little bit safer. It's really easy to take full heart's worth of damage in this area, even with the red mail. Especially
when he's already used a potion, too.
Yeah, definitely smart, safe play.
Seeing Ben just dropping bombs everywhere here.
You know, sometimes you just have to let out a little steam.
That seems to be a specialty of his, doesn't it? Just dropping the bombs everywhere in this place. Gotta make sure you keep at least 1 behind, though.
He's gotta save, the 1 for the Bob room. He's gotta maybe save some for the validation chest. We never know what might happen there.
Just so long as you don't bonk into it, that's the main thing. Alright, so it looks like just Silver Arrows coming out gauntlet here. I'm a little bit disappointed, not gonna lie. The Fire Rod is less laggy, it's faster, and it kills the mini-style first without actually setting them on fire per se, so they don't waste time that way. They just die as if they got hit by something normally.
Yeah, with Quarter Magic, I say light it up.
Yeah,
go roast all of them.
You get 32 shots with it, so... And it is 1 menu tile away from the bow, so it's not as if it takes long to switch to either.
No, it doesn't.
So this is an interesting... I mean, it didn't work out this time, but this is something I see quite a lot of players doing when they're going for the silvers here, as they try and do it vertically. I've always found it easier to position myself to the right of the first one, and just do it horizontally, because they seem to move more horizontally than they do vertically, so I find it easier to line up. Maybe that's just me.
Well, for every runner we have about 4 different strategies.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? That's what I love about these things. And it's always fun when you're doing it, for even when you're just watching without commentating. It's always fun seeing how you do things differently and whether or not somebody else is playing could be better.
That's one of the best ways to learn.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I've seen a lot of people saying, both in the Discord and sometimes when I do the stream stuff as well. It's like, oh, I'm not trying to throw shade or anything. I just want to learn, and that's definitely the way to do it.
It's like this torch room that Ampharos is in right now. I've tweaked my own strategies for it a couple of times based on what I've seen other people do, and I don't know if it's necessarily faster. I don't know if I execute it that well. But I like it. It works for me. So you play around with a bunch of different things, watch different people, find out what strategies work for you.
That room there, I've seen people use the fire rod vertically there as well to hit the torches at the top.
That is
or at least
so
one
tough.
of them. Yeah,
that's really precise.
But I've seen that as well, and that's just another way to alter strategies, which is really fun. So Ben just entering the gauntlet here after unfortunately having to go the full way round as well, also using the silver arrows here. The lag that generates is painful though. I'm sure coming from an NNG background where you don't get silver arrows, that must be painful to see the just the lag in that room.
It's a little bit rough.
So I'm assuming we didn't see anything validation-wise there, because I know AA is dead set against that. We see the DQs coming through in chat, yeah.
You know what, he will gladly take those DQs though, I'm sure. No shame there.
Yeah, he is very vehement against that. And here is the fire rod coming out. Okay. Oh,
there you go, nice.
Well done.
2 hits on each land mole ahead, and the fire rod will knock them right out.
That is also something I should learn, because when I don't have silver arrows, I usually have to 2-cycle that fight.
Well, he's getting fairly decent Aghanim 2 patterns. They're lining right up for him, and
that's not bad.
No, he's got to be proud of that fight.
Does have to be careful going into the Ganon fight, but the critical 2.5 hearts here is good, because I believe with Red Mail, the most damage that you can take is 2 hearts in one shot. So there's nothing that Ganon can do to one-shot him.
I believe walking into Ganon might still do 4. I know it does 8 with green mail, I believe 6 with blue.
Okay.
So as long as he doesn't go in for any big bear hugs, he'll definitely be okay. But Quarter Magic and the Magic Cape, he's got magic to spare. I think he still has his blue potions as well.
Yep. Yeah, so it's always inconsistent that way, because sometimes a red mail does reduce damage down to 1/4, sometimes it only does it to half, and then of course for set damage sources it doesn't do anything. You know, spikes and whatnot, there's still 1 heart anyway. Look how little this cape is using right now. This is ridiculous. It just, that bar just did not go down at all.
Yeah, barely over 1/4 of his magic consumed just from that.
No validation chests have been either.
That's okay.
Fine.
We can be equally unvalidated.
Yes, we did indeed find arrows in the mountain. Yeah, no need to really worry about the torch glitch here. Interesting to set fire to the stuff there. I figured you may want to just set one of the torches on and then try for the triple shot. Because if you know where he's going, you can set the torch up so that, yeah, basically mid teleport, you can
sort of manipulate it.
But that doesn't really matter when you get an absolutely flawless shot there. Ridiculously good. GG to Ampharos, for sure.
And we have an official SRL race bot time for AmazingAmpharos of 1:23:47. GG's to him. Fantastic job.
That's insane.
And I think at this point, Ben being so close, we wait for him to finish up before we bring anybody in.
I definitely think so. This is going to be a 1:25 for Ben, for sure. That is awesome. I mean, we've seen some really, really fast races within this tournament already, but this is just brilliant. Both players being sub 130, and you know, just everything went right. It's so good.
Yeah, there really weren't any flaws, even things that you could analyze as flaws from either runner. Routing was a little bit different. It didn't make a huge difference, though. Neither one really paid off more than the other. As we can see, finishing, I'm going to say, less than 2 minutes apart from each other by the end of this.
Yep. That seems pretty fair. Yeah, this just goes to show what we are going to get from the tournament as we go through. Like, obviously not every seed is good. Yeah, this is what I was thinking might have been a thing. Oh, nearly got a triple. That's what I was thinking.
That'll finish it off.
That's what I was thinking AA might have gone for when Ganon was teleporting down from the top. So long as Ganon doesn't go over a torch or a hole, then you actually can just like shotgun him a bit. And if you're lucky enough with it as he's teleporting, you can get 3 hits. As Ben has an official SRL time of 1 hour 25:22. Absolutely amazing.
Yep, truly fantastic. And before we pull them in, just looking at the tournament schedule, it appears that tonight we are going to have 2 Game 3s, one at 7 o'clock Eastern, one at 9:30. The 7 o'clock going to be Game 3 between the OK Guy and Ruble.
That's going to be very good.
Will be between Dark Magician and EOD Tex. Both of them are going to be fantastic.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
First and the second Game 3 that we've had in these brackets so far.
Yep. Alright, you want to pull the runners in then?
I will gladly do that.
Hello guys, GG to both of you.
Thanks, that was quite the seed.
Yeah, that was awesome, just watching that.
You guys just absolutely flew right through that. I didn't even make the realization that we were at about 1 hour and 5 minutes, Ampharos, when you entered Turtle Rock. I had no idea we had gone through that quickly. It was a lightning seed for you guys. Well done, both of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, everything was in an easy spot. There was no item that... The only thing that was worrisome was the book. Thank goodness it was in Agana's cave and not the chest I skipped in Eastern.
Yeah, that was one of the interesting points of it. We came down between you two runners needing to do the Ice Rod Cave and Agana's Cave as your last options. Fortunately, the book was in Agana's Cave. Yeah, we were wondering, too, how was that going to come back to haunt you with that chest in Eastern Palace? It was only a heart piece, so it really didn't do much.
Yeah, like, because this is V18 logic, so that chest is considered easily accessible. I'd already gotten lots of open items already. I knew the odds on that chest were terrible, and Armos had a 50-50 at the item anyway.
Sure.
I only started regretting skipping that chest at the moment when East Death Mountain gave me only Ether. Then I was like, oh man, 3 spots left. If it's in one of these 3 spots, I'm way behind.
Yeah, well, a gamble of sorts. Fortunately, one that worked out in your favor.
Yeah, and given the margin we finished, that was probably about half the difference right there.
That's actually an interesting thought as well. Very true.
Yeah, so beyond that, the only difference I can immediately remember is you getting the flute earlier. And it was kind of funny when we were sort of thinking about what could progress the seed here, thinking, oh, if Moon Pearl is up on the mountain, so that'd be great. Okay, gotta go look for someone else now. We were mentioning the checkerboard cave as an option for it, because that would have been pretty funny at the time. But, you know, obviously needed to get flute beforehand. Didn't quite work out that way, but we sort of vaguely mentioned flute maybe being in Super Bunny Cave, and I wouldn't be able to break the logic with that, but would have been an amusing thought. And then as you went back up there with the Titans Mate, lo and behold, that's exactly where it ended up. That was the other difference, I feel, that you got the flute earlier than Ben did, and so that little bit of speed in the overworld definitely helped out.
Yeah, the funny thing about that, normally I would Super Bunny, but because I saw Silvers up on Death Mountain, I
Yeah.
was like, you know, I'm going to be coming back here as soon as I find Moon Pearl anyway, so why not make the trip worth it?
Yeah, that makes sense. We were speculating, once you guys found Moon Pearl, you could have entered from around the Hype Cave area, Village of Outcasts, or you could have gone up to the mountain, and you went straight to the mountain, presumably for those silver arrows being so easily accessible.
Yeah, I mean, Mountain had 8 spots for me to check, and I get silvers, which speed up just all kinds of little things, and then the big thing being Ganon.
So, Ben, what did you think of this seed then? Apart from just it was really fast, obviously. Was there any sort of particular reasoning for some of the like routing decisions, I guess? Like going to Village of Outcasts before going back up the mountain, say?
I don't know, to be honest. I think it took me a long time to do dungeons. At some point I wanted to start dungeon, and I went for Thief Stone. But yeah, I went kind of super late back in Dead Mountain. I was thinking about it, I was like, when do I go there? And I was doing a ton of stuff on the other world, and I kind of did it last, and went back to Era.
Yeah, oh, that was the other thing that was different, wasn't it? You went to Hera Basement because you were still looking for other stuff, which, yeah, unfortunately didn't work out this time. We were hoping it was going to pull a Rubel moment. Pretty sure it was Rubel that had it in the freeway where the ice rod was there and he was the only one that checked it. We were sort of secretly hoping for that because that just would have been immune. But not this time.
So out of curiosity, did we see the lamp anywhere?
Yes, it was in the
Yes.
Circle of Bushes cave. Ben actually picked it up.
Ah, that's, wow. He did a lot of stuff I didn't and finished.
Yep.
I did the
It's-
full of our world.
Yeah, I was thinking at the time when you had basically the three options of going Hype Cave side, going Village of Outcast side, going Death Mountain. You guys did the 2 options I was thinking not doing. Like, my initial thought was, because this is V18, Hype Cave has had so many good things so often, that's where I would have gone. And then I'd have gone up to Village of Outcasts from there, going the opposite way around, basically, is what you did. I ended up liking your running a heck of a lot more when I was sort of thinking about it, because you got to do the purple chest and all of that stuff down there as well. I was thinking, yeah, that is far better than what I was thinking
I
of
got
doing at the time.
absolutely nothing from everything.
Unfortunately, yeah.
It's unfortunate that's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
You never know, and the next seed you play, that could have everything. That's the beauty of the randomizer, though, I think.
I'll tell you, when I saw Ganon's Tower, big key on right side, that's when I got really scared.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. But so the way I was thinking, I don't know what. Yeah, maybe you can shed some light on this as well, Ben. But I was thinking, an hour 15 minutes in, basically getting into GT, that's got to feel pretty good. You've got to be thinking, oh, I'm probably in a decent spot, if not close enough that sort of execution can make a difference. So there's not really any reason why I should gamble here. I don't know if there was any sort of thoughts that way, or whether it was just follow the default path, but I don't know.
Honestly, if I had half magic, I would have done GT right side, but I didn't want to spend all my magic getting through that one bad room.
Yeah, even with the 2 blue potions, it would have still been kind of annoying.
Yeah,
2
it's
blue
not having
potions?
powder. You want to save those potions for later on in the tower.
Yeah,
if
there
you're able to.
was one in the library, and then you picked up one later on as well.
Thought I just had the blue and the red and then a B.
I'm pretty sure I saw 2 blue potions, then the red and the B as well, but because there was definitely one in the library that you got.
Oh, yeah,
straight
the
up.
one in the librry I got. I mean, is it one of the? I didn't check a ton of the world.
Maybe it's one you didn't check. I don't know. I might be misremembering exactly who checked what, but. At least you got to redeem yourself in Turtle Rock, though.
I had that thought too.
I'm glad you did, because I've been sort of mentioning that. DT was, I'm not sure how you are with the darkroom stuff. I was like, you've got a point to prove. You are definitely doing that. So.
And that's the one dark room that I've never even tried. It's always been so daunting for me. And you made it look like a slice of cake. I don't know what flavor cake. It doesn't matter. I'm sure it was delicious. Great job on that.
A very dark colored cake.
So I guess
you're gonna go lampless. 2 of the 3 dark dungeons being pendants you never
Yeah,
have to enter.
that
Pretty
was-
generous.
that was pretty
Yeah.
special, yeah.
And
I don't know, is there anything else
Sorry.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry, Cal.
I was only going to say, is there anything else either of you want to add for this one? Because I don't have any other questions I can think of.
Any closing thoughts, Ampharos, Ben? Anything that you might consider for the next seed? Anything that... you know, here's a question then. Do you have Race 2 scheduled?
Yeah, race 2 and if necessary, race 3 are going to be Saturday. We're looking at a possible doubleheader. I obviously hope it's not a doubleheader.
As always, though, we wish you both the best of luck with it. You're 2 fantastic runners. It was a great joy watching you both play together.
Thank you. And GG again?
Yeah, absolutely. This is another one of those seeds where both players have finished sub 130, and that's going to get hopefully more common as we go through the rest of this. Obviously, it depends on the seed, but it just goes to show the ability that we have in the tournament here. And yeah, big props to both of you for that.
But yeah, great race, Ben, and I look forward to playing you again on Saturday.
Same.
Alright, so have we got anything else coming up in the near future, or is it a few hours before
I don't
the
know
next
what
stuff on here?
Gaming itself. Hopefully Fiesel can chime in with that. But the next tournament race for us is going to be about 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
Okay. So we've got about a 3¼ hour gap then.
Yeah, a
Not
little
too
bit of a
bad.
break.
Plenty of time if people want to jump into races and such, that they can do so.
Ooh, that sounds like a good idea. So
Alright,
guys,
well,
this was the race between AmazingAmpharos and Ben. Give them both follows once again. Fantastic job. Not, as we've mentioned, not only sub 130, they finished roughly a minute and a half apart from each other. It doesn't get much better than that. Super high execution, really, really prominent with the knowledge of the game. Props to both of them.
yeah, absolutely. And it's only going to get better as we go along. So definitely look forward to the other races we have today.
So let's see, I'm going to intentionally do it this time, but along with my gamer pal Cal, there we go. I'm in the name of DT. It's been a real pleasure for you guys this afternoon.
And this has been Gamer Cal. For everyone out there, good afternoon, good evening, good night, or even good morning if you're watching in a stranger location. Until then, now, later on, take care.
Be good,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Take care.